Hello everybody, my name is Sachin Bhandari and you are watching the Story Coach YouTube channel. This channel is all about business storytelling and good communication. I believe that good communication makes life, business, career, everything more meaningful. So we should spend time and invest in becoming better communicators and great storytellers. With that out of the way, let me introduce you to the story that I'm going to narrate today. Bryan Stevenson is a civil rights lawyer from the United States, and he also runs a not-for-profit called Equal Justice Initiative. It helps people of color get justice in the United States. Now, back in 2012, Bryan Stevenson stood up on the TED Talk stage and delivered a presentation or delivered a talk. And apart from the fact that he wanted to talk about injustice and poverty, he also wanted to raise money for his not-for-profit. Now, what happened next is this story for today. And this story is about how Bryan Stevenson made 55,000 US dollars per minute during that talk. And I'm sure you also want to know what is the communication tip linked to that. So stay till the end of the video because, as always, the best or the most practical tips are stored for the last. He narrated the story of his grandmother who called young Bryan. Bryan was probably in his teenage years that time. She called Bryan and she said, "Bryan, you are special and you can achieve everything that you want." But then his grandmother went on to extract three promises from Bryan. Number one, that he would always take care of his mother, which of course Bryan had no problem to accept the promise. Number two, that he would always do the right thing no matter how difficult it was. Again, Bryan did not have a problem with that. Number three is that he would never ever touch a drop of alcohol. Now, Bryan accepted this one too, but when he narrated this point, the entire audience started, there was a whisper, people started smiling. You could almost hear people smile and people gave a small round of applause to Bryan. But this is the moment when Bryan actually made a connection with his audience and everybody started feeling that he's one of us, he's so affable. And then Bryan went on to share his message about injustice, poverty, and what needs to be done, and how we need to talk about these things, etc., etc. And by the end of the talk, which is about 18 minutes, he had raised 2 million US dollars, which by calculation is about 55,000 US dollars per minute. Okay. Now I'm sure that, making 55,000 US dollars may not be a practical goal to have for all of us all the time, but many of us can actually have similar kind of impact that Bryan had that day when he went upon the TED Talk stage. And to understand how to create that impact, come with me to the next section. So the communication tip from Bryan Stevenson's talk that day is very simple and straightforward. It is start with a story. Now, if you realize, Bryan opened his talk with a personal and a relevant story, which made him affable, helped him connect better with his audiences. Now, we could all start with stories as well, whether it's our website, PowerPoint presentations, investor pitch decks, speeches, documents, etc., etc. A short and a relevant story always creates the right kind of impact and opens up the audience to receive further information and messages from you. And that's why generally, whenever I'm writing an email or a long document or even a presentation, I tend to fall back to a story which helps me connect better with audiences, even while talks and sessions that I conduct with attendees of our workshops or learners of our coaching and online courses. Examples of these, there are many. There are a lot of effective communicators who fall back to starting with a story whenever they have to give a talk or a presentation. I'll share three examples, details of which or links to those will also be there in the YouTube description below. So go ahead and check them out as well. Number one is Frida Polli. Frida Polli is the founder and CEO of Symetrics, which is an AI-based HR solution, human resource solution company. In the about us of the company, Frida narrates the story of how she started the company, and also about her own life, about her daughters, etc. And that helps you build a stronger connection both with Cymetrics and with Frida. So go ahead and check out their website. The second is Girish Mathrubootham, who is the founder and CEO of Freshworks. Freshworks was recently, Freshworks recently got listed on NASDAQ, and it's one of the greatest successes to come out of India as far as a startup or a software as a service startup is concerned. Now, Girish Mathrubootham also uses stories to their best effect. In fact, back in 2011, when he was pitching his startup at a Microsoft startup contest, everyone else had presentations and they were talking in assertions. Girish Mathrubootham actually narrated a story, and that story helped him win that particular contest. And he's, through his career, been narrating a lot of stories, which I am very, very sure are really an integral part of his success. The third one is Bryan from Airbnb. Now, when Bryan is asked what is Airbnb, he won't go back to numbers and business model. He always narrates the story of how the company started, which is like the origin story. And that is how you actually get to hear something which fires your imagination, which helps you build a connection with the speaker, and then it is easier for you as an audience to accept the information and the messages that these speakers or these leaders have to convey to you. So, yep, start with a story. That's a simple tip for today. And before I go away, a quick quick introduction to the StoryCo. We are a business storytelling coaching and training firm. We help leaders, business leaders, entrepreneurs and professionals use the power of story in their communication so that they are able to build better connections with their audiences. And if you have any questions about storytelling or business communication, feel free to ask me in comments. Either I or one of my colleagues will get back to you shortly. That's it from me in this video. I'll see you in the next one pretty soon.